Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETA Prime back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of the best budget Android tablets of 2022. Now, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you know I love my Android tablets. I try to get my hands on a few every single year, and when it comes down to it, the best Android tablets are a bit expensive. In my opinion, at least at the time of making this video, the best one on the market right now is the Tab S8, the Tab S8 Plus, or the Tab S8 Ultra, but those are on up there in the $600 to $1,100 range. But when it comes to the new CHUWI HipAd Max, this is coming in at $199 and well worth it when you compare to other 10-inch tablets on the market. We've got an 8-core Snapdragon CPU, 8 gigs of RAM, quad speakers, and one of the best things about this budget tablet here, it is using Widevine Level 1, so we can get HD Netflix, HBO, Hulu, and all of the other video streaming apps that require a Widevine certification to get HD content on your Android device. And this actually might sound odd to some people, but when it comes to the cheaper Android tablets on the market, basically none of them have Widevine certification, so you're going to be stuck with SD content on those applications. But with this, we've got a certification for Widevine Level 1, and we're good to go there. So when it comes to the specs of the new CHUWI HipAd Max, we've got the Snapdragon 680. This is an octa-core ARM CPU. We've got 4 A73 cores at 2.4 GHz and 4 A53 cores at 1.9. We've got an Adreno 610 GPU, 8 GB of LPDDR4 RAM, 128 GB of internal UFS storage, plus it does support a micro SD card, a 10.3-inch IPS display with a resolution of 2000 by 1200, quad speakers, AC Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.0. This also supports 4G LTE. It's using a 7,000 mAh battery, and it supports Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0, but unfortunately they do send you a slow charger in the box, so you will need a different wall adapter. And like I mentioned, this is running Android 12 out of the box with no bloat whatsoever. I mean, this is a super clean ROM when it comes to these tablets. So first things first, I did want to show you that we are Widevine certified for level 1 here. I've downloaded DR Info from the Google Play Store. As you can see, L1. I've also tested Netflix and HBO Go. It does give me HD content. Now, if you were going to go with a more expensive tablet or even the Amazon Fire 10, then you'll definitely get level 1 built in. All of the Samsung tablets have it, but they're, larger companies and their tablets are a bit more expensive except for the Amazon Fire. But with the Fire, you have to work with Fire OS. It's not true Android. And with this here, we've got Android 12, Google Play ready to go. And the CPU they chose to use in this thing does outperform the Amazon Fire 10 tablet. So we've also got a more powerful tablet, which will allow us to play higher end games and higher end emulators. And when it comes to overall performance, this thing is definitely snappy. It's not a super high end chip. This is an older Snapdragon 680, but it's outperforming a lot of the other inexpensive tablets that are on the market right now. So it's hard for me to show off, Netflix and HBO due to copyright, but here we have some YouTube streaming. I'm at 1080p, 60 FPS, and this will handle 1440p quite well. That Snapdragon 680 can do it. 4K is a little on the iffy side. It does drop a little more frames than I'd like, but 1440p, 1080, 60 FPS is good to go on this chip, and the built-in speakers actually sound pretty good. Next thing I wanted to do was run a few benchmarks, and with Geekbench and 3D Mark Wildlife, I thought we'd see a higher score here with the 680. But with Geekbench 5, we got a single core of 374 multi-1461. When it comes to 3D Mark Wildlife, 449, and I thought we'd be up in the 800 to 900, but unfortunately it's just on the lower side. But the final one I ran here was Antutu, and we got a 252,000 out of this unit. If you take a look down the list, CPU is around 73,000, GPU 50,000, and so on and so on. So it's not going to win any benchmark awards, but let's check out some real-world gaming on this device. First up, we've got Minecraft, and I didn't have to change any settings. We've still got fancy graphics on. I'm using an Xbox controller connected over Bluetooth. Game like this is going to run fine on the Snapdragon 680. And I believe we're at 12 chunks. I think that's what it kind of sets itself at on these mid-range tablets. But if you wanted to play Minecraft on this or get something like this for the kids to play Minecraft, they'll have a great time on it. Moving over to Call of Duty Mobile, again, still using that Bluetooth Xbox controller. This is another one that natively supports controllers, and it's really up to you. I mean, if you want to use one, you can, or you can use the built-in touch controls. Both of them work equally as well, and this game runs great on this device. And finally, for the native Android gaming side of things, we've got Genshin Impact. Now this is definitely a harder one to run on lower end devices, and right now I'm at 45 FPS. We can set it to 30, 45, or 60 from the settings, and we're at low. That's just how it is right now. You can go to medium 30 FPS, and it will do sort of 60, but I really don't think it's running at a complete 60. So I've kind of found it here at 45 low is the way to go. It still looks great on this display. It would be nice to be able to, max this out at 60 FPS, but even the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 does fall under 60 every once in a while, maxed out like that. So this tablet does handle native Android games quite well, but what about emulation? And the first one we're testing here is some Dreamcast using the Redream emulator. I am upscaled to 1280 by 960, and I think we could go one more step higher with this, but it still looks great. And this is Sonic Adventure 2, running at full speed. FPS is up in the top left-hand corner. With Dreamcast, you're not going to have an issue on this tablet. The 680 has more than enough power. Next up, we've got some PSP emulation using PPSSPP, Vulkan backend, 3x resolution with Tekken 6. I consider this a mid-range game to emulate. On some lower-end devices, we do get some hiccups here and there. But at 3x, running at full speed, looking really good. But as a lot of us already know who are into emulation, there are harder to emulate PSP games on Android, like the God of War series. Here's Chains of Olympus. And with this, we're still using the Vulkan backend, but in order to get this to run at a steady 60, I did have to drop it down to 1x. So you could always take it up to around 3 or 4 with frame skip on if you don't mind using frame skip, but if you want to run it at 60, 1x is the way to go on the Snapdragon 680. I also wanted to test out some PS2 using AetherSX2, and right now we're at 1x resolution, Vulkan backend with the unsafe preset. I was really hoping that it would handle these games with the safe preset, that way we don't have any cycle skipping going on, but with unsafe it actually does a pretty decent job. Now there are some harder to emulate games like God of War 2 here that still struggle with that unsafe preset, but I'm using the version from Google Play, and there's an alpha version out right now. You can get it from the official AetherSX2 website that supports incremental scaling. That way we could go under 1x, and it would probably help out with a lot of these games. So in the end, not a bad little budget tablet here, coming in at $199. It definitely outperforms a lot of the other $200 tablets on the market. And when it comes to something like the Fire 10, I personally do like that tablet. I think it's $150 when it's not on sale for the lower end version, but I really don't like Fire OS. I'd much rather have a tablet like this with true Android installed on it. We've got Android 12 here with no bloat and access to Google Play right out of the box. When it comes to battery life on the new HipAd Max, remember we've got a 7,000 mAh battery here. For video playback, you can expect around 5 to 5.5 hours. If you want to do some gaming on this, it really depends. If you're doing 3D stuff, about 3.5 to 4 hours. And when it comes to web browsing, you can expect around 8 hours of battery life out of this unit, which really isn't that bad given that we're working with a $199 budget tablet. But in the end, it's really up to you. If you're interested in learning more, maybe picking one up, I will leave a couple links in the description. If there's anything else you want to see running on the HipAd Max, let me know in the comments below. And like always, thanks for watching.